I am silly. Yeah, we are so excited to have you part of our conversation about Facebook. And I know you've had a lot of success, so it's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, so let me get us started. I just want to hear from all of you. So we talked about Facebook a little bit. How are you incorporating Facebook shows into your schedule?
You know, when my business first started, my son had a white blood cell disease, and so my cooking shows were really good in the beginning, but he got sicker, and so I needed to supplement. And that's what this is designed to do, is to supplement that extra income that you need when you can't get out of the house and do the cooking shows. And so I really started paying attention to my generation, the generation of technology. I see lots of iPads all out taking notes and things like that, and so that's really where the key is connecting with that generation that's, you know, it's an extension of their selves. So, you know, making sure that you're contacting your hosts and talking to them in the right ways with their cell phones and things like that. And so Facebook shows kind of just started with that.
Yeah, and I so agree with that Generation Y. I know you're a Generation Y-er, correct? And I think it's just so important for us we need to adapt, right? We need to continue growing and expanding our businesses. I mean, I'm a baby boomer, and I'm just, you know, trying to figure it all out myself, you know? So I actually am very surprised that Desiree doesn't have her cell phone out here because she's like attached to it. So did you leave it? Oh,
you know, this is like an extension of myself, and I was kind of thinking it would be cool to check in from stage.
Oh my goodness.
Make sure you tag us.
Oh, yeah. We need to make sure that we're connecting in the right ways, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Tone.
Okay, so Jessica, how about you? How do you incorporate Facebook into your shows?
You know, a few months ago, we were on the Mediterranean cruise, which was amazing, by the way. Right?
Yes!
And when we got home, I was looking at stats and noticed that I was not too far, wink, wink, from hitting my million in sales. And so like I said earlier, I put a plan together to see if I could do it, was willing to do it. And I really couldn't add any more shows to my schedule, so I had to find another way to bring in sales. And so I've been watching Desiree and all the success that she has, so I thought, why not give it a shot? I will tell you, in the last 2 months, Facebook shows helped me tremendously because I've had over $11,000 in sales in 2 months.
Wow. Is that awesome? Woo! Rockin'. So,
Annalie?
Yeah, you know, I was blessed to have 3 awesome trips this summer. I was gone from my home for 37 days. And I was kind of looking at my calendar thinking, how in the world am I going to have the income that I normally do over the summer when I'm gone this much? And so I kind of jumped on the Facebook bandwagon, thanks to Desiree, and gave it a try. And over the summer, I did over $9,000 in Facebook sales alone.
Wow.
And I looked at my numbers from last year, 2011, and comparatively, $7,500 for the entire year of catalog shows.
wow.
$9,000 in the summer of Facebook shows. So you do the math, you extrapolate that out.
Yeah.
That's like nearly $30,000 in a year of just extra stuff. So.
I know. I was blown away when I was talking to Annalie about this on the phone because it was like, oh my gosh, she just started really using this. What was it, May-ish?
Yeah, it was end of May.
She sat down and just figured out for the rest of the year that she would have anywhere from 15 to 20,000 incremental sales over her cooking shows. I mean, I think that's just rocking and stopping. So,
yeah, and I really think it's important. I do about 12 to 18 a month, and my team's Facebook show average is around $800 a show. And that's collectively with my team, and not just the sales. I think it's really important that everybody knows this is a recruiting tool as well. Mm-hmm. I have 4 team members on my team that I've never laid eyes on, and they are in different states than me, and my team is recruiting it, and it's just been something that, you know, you've got to open it up. Annalie and Jessica kind of went through Facebook boot camp with me, which was like a quick way, and I think that that's the purpose of this, is we're inviting all of you to a really quick Facebook boot camp. So.
yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I just want to tell everybody, not to worry, we're going to have this posted. Actually, you're going to get some information on Monday about Facebook. So just so that you know, if you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, I can't write it down so fast. So Tony, I wanted to make sure.
Well, so I'm curious. So I hear 11,000, I hear 9,000. Desiree says you do about up to 18 shows a month. So I'd just like to hear from Duska and Annalie. How many shows do you average a month on
We
Facebook?
usually do about 10 to 12.
10 to 12?
Yeah, 8 to 10 for me.
Wow.
Yep. So that is just awesome. I know that you have also been marketing your Facebook show. So how do you exactly do that, Duska?
I think it's like marketing any part of your business. And I market it at my parties a
Okay.
lot. Just because let's face it, not everyone, no matter how many products they want, have the time in their schedule or are willing to host an actual live cooking show. So I always plug that there's an extra easy party that they can do virtually online, through Facebook. You're also going to be posting it on your Facebook. I post on my business page, on my personal page, just like I would if I was looking for cooking shows. It's just another way to get business.
I think that's great. Desiree, what about you?
To market those shows, at my show, as I say, there's 3 types of shows. There's a cooking show, there's a catalog show, and there's the new Facebook show. And that's the really great way of just, taking the pressure off of it. I also use green light chatting. It's been a kind of a topic of discussion lately, is that chat area in the right-hand column of your Facebook application or online shows who's online. It has a little green dot. And you just pop up a message and engage them. Do not pop up the message and say, will you host a show with me? Pop up the message and be like, hey, how was your summer? Or the kids back in school? And then say, hey, I've got this new show. I'd really like to try it out on you. Would you be willing to do that? Just like you would, ask them to host a cooking show. And also I use my status and I say, hey, I'm looking for my next 3 or 5 Facebook hosts. And then the Red Stamp app that you guys mentioned earlier, you can text people and tell them, hey, this is the new Facebook, application, show that we're using.
So that gets me to my next question, which is, what is the biggest advantage of utilizing Facebook shows?
I was listening to you guys in the green room back there, and I really think that a lot of people object to hosting Facebook shows, or not Facebook shows, but cooking shows, because they don't know enough people, or people aren't going to show up, and it's the social pressures. In today's society, those people showing up to your house is like an anxiety attack of wanting to know, am I popular? Am I not so popular? So inviting them over to your house can sometimes cause people in my generation that extra stress that they don't necessarily want. And so if those people don't show up, everybody shows up on Facebook, because when you have 1,100 friends, everybody's listening, right? Exactly.
I've got like 7, so 1,100.
Okay, Tony, that might even be worse than me. I'm a baby boomer, and I know you're younger than I am.
And I really think it takes the pressure. No one enjoys cleaning their kitchen. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't enjoy it. And there's occasionally times when I go into a house and the microwave is kind of scary.
I think I've heard some of those, what are they, Tales from the Crate?
Yes. And so on a Facebook show, the first thing I say to them is, guess what? You don't have to clean your kitchen, nor do you have to wipe out the microwave for me. And so, it's just one of those quick ways.
You sold me.
These were friends.
Well, it does eliminate the problem of no one willing to show up. That objection that we sometimes get while we're out there. So
Exactly.
we don't hear, that is something that it really leverages. That's great.
Absolutely. So, well, I bet you are wondering how to get started if you haven't gotten started, or if you had gotten started and you haven't been as successful as these 3. I know that they have really talked about, that there are 6 steps to a successful Facebook show. So I'm going to hand it over to Desiree, I believe, just to
Absolutely.
start
Step
with.
1 is friending your hosts. When you are at your shows and you want to engage them into a Facebook show, tell them that look me up on Facebook when you get home. Or, you can enter their email addresses. I would tell you that the most socially adequate way of doing it is to actually allow them to friend you too, just because that means that it's establishing the connection that they want to do something. And so by doing that, not only like once a month we send the newsletter out and things like that, but when you're friends with them, because I hear that objection a lot, that people don't want to invite people into their private world, but they're also seeing what you're doing and you're establishing that relationship. A relationship with your host is key. And step 2 is creating the event. You're going to create the event on Facebook and invite the host And don't forget the past host. The past host will sell the show for you too, because you can post on the event and say, Sally host is going to be getting this opportunity at 60% off because she's a booking from the other show. So that's one way of just being able to connect quickly. Also, the 3 steps to directions. In the middle of the event, you want to give them very, very simple ordering instructions. For step 1 is to go to my personal website. Step 2 is to click shop online and enter the host name. Step 3, shop away. It's so easy. And then sometimes occasionally I'll add the direct ordering link, but we all know that links can expire or links can have troubles. So please make sure that you're giving those 3-step directions and the direct ordering link. And then the last thing is you really want to make sure that the start and end date. You want to, typically 10 days is the max, and so you start the dates and you end the date and you update it. The Facebook system is constantly changing, so do not think that you're going to have it mastered, because just when you do, Facebook sends an update. So it's just really important.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Step 1 is to friend your host. Step 2, create the event.
Yep.
So am I right in guessing that step 3 is inviting the guests?
Yes. Step 3 is inviting the guests. And we have to invite a lot more than a traditional cooking show. I tell my hosts, no, absolutely no less than 100, and I really like to see way more than that. Because we're finding just a small percentage are not even going to see the event at all. There's going to be people that ignore it. So we really need to have a large guest list. And then you send a message to your host letting her know it's all set up and ready to go, and for her to invite her guests. And so it's really, really easy.
So a really funny story about this is I had this girl who wanted to host a show, and I set the event up and I sent her a message, a private message that said, hey, it's all set up, it's ready to go. Invite everyone. And, near and far, because you want to cover everyone, and she invited all 981 of her friends.
Wow.
Within 3 hours, we had $300 in sales. Within 6 hours, we were topping out at $850, and by the end of the day, we were almost to $1,000. So it's just really making sure. Wow. Yeah, so really making sure that you're messaging them and doing those things.
Okay, so I've invited my 7 guests. 4 befriended me before I even got it out. And I'm dealing with those last 3 people that don't know how to befriend me. So what is that next step?
Tony, everybody's feeling really sorry for you.
The truth sometimes hurts.
They're all going to friend you.
But that's not really going to work because they're not going to buy.
That's true. Good point. Okay, so sorry.
So the next step.
So the orders don't just come rolling in, Tony. Once you invite your friends, it's definitely, it's not going to keep rolling in. It's actually going to, you have to host coach. You have to, start engaging your host and having that relationship with them, just like you would a cooking show. Please do not think that you can invite them to an event and say, fond farewell, and all of it will happen for you. It's just as important that you spend that hour host coaching and engaging with them and talking to them and messaging them and checking in with them. And I have a quick cheat sheet that I send them and say, hey, here's some great ideas that you can do to keep your shows engaged.
I think that's so important to remember that a Facebook show, just because it has a different name, doesn't mean that we treat it differently than a cooking show. Like a little book.
There it is.
We have another guest. You don't mind if I take care of number 8? We better move on.
Bottom line, it's like a cooking. It's just like a cooking show. You have to engage your host. You have to engage guests, right? If you have a host, a Facebook host that only has a few friends, like Tony, right? Make sure, I like to send a catalog to my Facebook host and write them a personal note that just says, I want you to use this catalog as your wish list. I want you to pick out everything you could possibly want in your kitchen, and I'm going to help you get it. And then send some order forms as well. Because let's face it, they can go take catalogs and collect orders that way also. So the more you can get them to want a lot of products, they'll do what we outline for them.
Absolutely. Your guests and your host deserve the same amount of attention. So when you create that and you're engaging your guests, you're welcoming them. When they click that attend button, it's just like you open the door for your cooking shows. You want to say, hi, how are you? My name's Desiree. I post a simple message on their welcome and I say, hey, welcome to the show. Here, if you have any questions, please let me know. Sometimes I add my email address or I just say private message me. So you want to just really establish